What is up, Proud Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's video. We're going to build a first in RX7. It's not the first one we've built on the channel, but it will be the first one that we build that is built specifically to be a precision instrument of speed and aerodynamics at the racetrack and legal to drive on the road as well. So let's get started. First things first, this is a 1979 RX7. Everybody's got that one buddy, especially if you're into cars, that just has a bajillion projects and never quite finishes one of them. And it kind of gets a little bit of work here and there, but then it's like running but not done, but it needs a bunch of work, but that's something the other. That's this car. So this car is called Death Trap. It's been in the Tennessee Rotary community for a long time. My buddy Charles has owned it for a long time, and it's had multiple crazy different iterations. It used to look really nice, and it kind of started its life as a free, if you get it running, you can have it car. Had a Bridgeport 12A in it for a while, GSL-SE suspension, it got autocrossed, put a turbo swap in it, and it never ran perfect since and never got finished. So, this car has a Haltech. It's got a T2 out of I think it's an S4 T2 block. It's got a stock S4 turbo. It's got a pretty simple intercooler setup. It's got some Turbo 2 seats, and it is honestly really dirty and smelly and musty, and it's been leaking water for a long time. It's been sitting on my hill. It was sitting at Charles' house for a while, and I'm not stoked to have to clean this, but fortunately we're not going to put a lot of this interior back in, so we can just get rid of most of it. This car was kind of built from a GSL-SE parts car. So it got the SE suspension, it got the SE carpet, it got the SE doors with power windows. You can see the SE console in there. It doesn't have any rear interior, basically. It has a half little bolt-in roll bar thing. And it's got a lot of really good bones. Okay, there's a lot of really good parts here, which is why we're using this to build the ultimate first-gen track car, because it basically pretty much is. It was just 70% of the way there, and as you know, you can't take a car that's 70% built to the track and not expect to leave with 30% of it completely broken, if not the rest of it broken. So, very simple setup in here, but let me tell you guys, gauges for days. So, this isn't the first time I've seen the car. I've been around this car for a while. I've driven this car, and it runs okay. But let me tell you, those pillar gauges at night, even during the day, it's like having a flashlight, like right here, you know? So when I sit in this car, which I'm not going to right now, it is literally filthy. I had to sit in it to roll it from up there to here and just like feel grimy. So, but those things are so bright. Probably gonna move them somewhere else, down on the dash maybe, not in the pillar. We'll get the interior clean. A quick exterior walk around. What does it look like before we transform this thing into just a not as dirty project car? So, BBS, vert wheels, it's got Turbo 2 brakes on the front, re-speed rack and pinion, it's got some cool aero front bumper thing. It's a 79, so it has a front mount oil cooler. It's got a GSL-SE axle in the back that's drilled for 5-lug. My dog is not afraid of the terrible smell on the inside of the car. Letty, how can you survive in there? Like, I need to back up. The camera I'm holding really far away from me because the smell coming out of this thing is atrocious. Is there a mouse in there? Get him! If you find a mouse, Letty, extra food in your bowl tonight. It's got, this is actually my wing that I've donated to this car. I had a 1980 RX7. I didn't have any other aero on it, so you can't just put a wing on it and not have like the air dam and louvers and be cool. So Charles had this, we put this wing on here. I got this from one of my buddies in Louisville a long time ago. It needed some fiberglass work, and I appreciate him because we fixed the fiberglass and put it on this car. And aside from it used to being black, but now it's faded back to its, I think this is Tinder Blue. We'll repaint it, it'll be black again. This car will be two-tone. Again, MagnaFlow muffler, which we'll keep. We're going to redo the rest of the exhaust. And, yeah, it's basically one of those always been a budget project car and never quite been torn down completely all at once, fixed right from the beginning and put back together. It's just had patchwork jobs done kind of here and there to fix things. And we're here because I really want to build a first gen for me. And when you're going to build a car for yourself eventually, right, there's a lot of trial and error that goes into learning exactly what you want in your own car. So I've got enough friends and sold some cars and fixed up some cars for friends, and all of them have pretty much been first gens, to learn that we're going to do this one for the track. We're going to see how it hangs against the RX8 up at Corvette Museum in a month or so. Redo everything. We'll learn a bunch of stuff on this, and then when I want to build my own first gen, or restore that one, or fix the brown one, or do whatever to all these extra cars that are my personal cars, then we know exactly how we want to do it, and we'll just use this as a test bed. So let's get the pressure washer out. Let's get this thing cleaned up. I'm probably going to just rip the entire interior out and throw a bunch of it away because it's all crappy, mostly just like carpet, and we'll see if we can get some like LRB door cards and stuff like that just to clean it up and make it a track car. We'll get these seats cleaned up and get this thing torn down. We're basically, this series, this car is coming down to pretty much a bare shell, and then we'll rebuild from there. So let's get to it. Clean half, dirty half. Also, I think these door panels might clean up pretty nice. I'll let them dry overnight. You know, when you're going to take the whole car apart anyways, just pressure wash stuff. It's fine, especially interior things. Now, I wouldn't like pressure wash the radio, you know, but like the floor and the carpet and seats will dry and it's fine. Better than no oil, I guess. Oh yeah. This is very healthy for the rest of this engine. Speedometer cable bracket, not seated in the firewall. Definitely just pushed a bunch of water under the dash, pressure washing, all that. Okay, I can't get the oil cap on. The engine's coming out anyways. I'm gonna put you guys in a spot so you can see all the oil come out of this car whenever I drive in here. So get fired up for that. Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. All right, y'all, we made it in. Did you see the oil? Look at the stream of oil. You can just track it. Oh, right there's where I had to really get after it to get up in here. Spun the tires a little bit. It's leaking oil pretty good. And where it's leaking is actually a very common thing to happen to most Turbo 2 guys, okay? You can see right here by the oil filter, you can see where the oil is just coming right out, right by my finger. And the rear iron actually cracks around the dowel. So I'll show you on this front iron for an FD. So this is a REW engine. Right here is where the dowel lands, and that's what keeps the rotors, or keeps the housings and the irons locked together and so they don't twist. And if you make a lot of power, and by a lot, we're talking not a lot, 230 horsepower or more, like a bolt-on's Turbo 2 can break the iron. You'll break these. You'll crack the dowel landing off the rear iron. And basically what's happening, and I've made a video on this before because this isn't the first time this has happened to cars around here, is the transmission is trying to rip itself off the back of the engine. When you put the power down, it effectively does that, and it breaks the engine. So we got to pull the rear iron. My suggestion is going to be to pull the motor apart, fix everything, put it back together, make sure the bearings are good, the whole deal, and we'll get that thing sorted. So the next bit for this video is we're going to rip this interior out and let this thing air out. So we're going to leave the dash. We're going to have to pull the bottom half of the dash apart to get the carpet out, or I'll just cut it for now and take that out later. But we need to get this thing airing out so that I can get back in here and we can assess the rust that we need to fix. And then ultimately, like I said, this car is getting completely torn down to basically a bare shell. And we'll put it back together. So fenders off, you know, front valence, and like, I mean, a lot of this thing is going to come apart, and we'll get it fixed properly and reassess. So let's get this interior out of here and see how much of a mess it is in there. Found $1. Dibs. No insulation allowed, race car. Oh, definitely don't like finding that. Charles, this thing's gonna need some floor work. Don't let your first gen RX7 fool you. Just because the insulation is still there doesn't mean you have a floor. Oh, dang. This sucks. Look at that. Coney adjustables. Save you about 4 pounds. Should be good for the whole shot. This thing is sick. Sick as in cool, and sick as in gotta fix some cancer here. So much premix. We got 2 funnels. Alright, y'all, we've got this thing ripped apart. We've got our junk pile right here, which is basically the entirety of the interior from the waist down, we'll say. From about the 2-tone stripe down, interior, ruined. Full of water, insulation, trashed. Looks like this side might not be as rusty. You know, roll cage mount's pretty solid. That side's not bad. We've got some bin rot we're going to have to fix, which kind of knew that going in. It is a 79, so it has the deep spare tire well, which fortunately is not that rusty, but there's some insulation we've got to get out. As I mentioned just a bit ago, you can't ever trust the solidity, how strong the floor is in the first gen, because the insulation will hide a super rusty floor. So you can see, you know, you peel the carpet back and you're like, oh, it's not that rusty. But you crawl under here and you peel the insulation back, and this thing's going to need some help. That's just a frame rail access hole. But, yeah. Not stoked about how this stuff is. Probably just going to be a cut some out of another car. We'll cut a section of this out up to the frame rail, weld in a new piece where this drain plug is. Actually, it's really not that bad. Maybe just a new drain plug. I might just get some Pour 15 and be okay. What I was seeing for bad rust was actually these drain plugs have metal inserts that they glue into the floor, and then they put the rubber drain plug in them. So that metal insert had rusted up. But honestly, it's not a bad canvas to start with. This one is at least a canvas you can stand on in around. You know, it's got some rust in one of the doors, and it's had some body work done for sure. But for what we're going to do with it, which is track Rage Monster that is streetable, I think this thing will be perfect. So with that, guys, get amped. I am stoked that we're working on a first gen again, because these are my jam. This is one of my favorite cars that's ever on the road, that ever comes through the shop. You can tell by how many of them we have, and I'm just fired up. This is a good one. And my dog found something. So guys, with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I need to go investigate what my dog is trying to run up a tree, probably an armadillo. We have those up here, a bunch of them. And I'll apologize right now to my neighbors for whenever my 30-30 goes off if it's an armadillo, because we'll wake them up. It's a little bit late. But with that, I'm excited for Death Trap. I hope you guys are too. This is going to be an epic build on the channel. It should go really fast. We know these cars. We know everything about them. And get excited for, we'll give you the quick build rundown here at the end of the video. The dog stopped barking, so we can kind of chill out. Okay, the plans for this car. What you're going to see in the next video series is the videos. We're going to put brake pads on this thing, track brake pads. Okay, we're going to fix the fuel system. We're going to pull the 79 tank out. We're going to put a in-tank pump and hanger setup in it. The car has a Walbro 250 external pump. They tend to get hot. We've had issues with them in the past on some of these cars. So we're going to do away with it. And we're going to try to run like a Deechworks Stealth 300 or Aeromotive Stealth 350 or whatever they are in that range to support this turbo engine. We are going to be going back together with this exact turbo setup. So this is just an S4 turbo. It's on a turbo block. T2 intakes and stuff. It has a Haltech. It's already been tuned. We'll see how good the tune is. It's got LS coils. But we'll get to that stuff when we get the body, the rust fixed next week. We'll try to get a lot of this cut out. And you're going to see in the next video, which will be like the complete teardown of this, because after this video we've got the interior out, we've assessed the car. I'm pretty much going to drop the entirety of the running gear out. So axles, fuel tank, front end, front subframe, engine, transmission. Everything's coming out the bottom of this car. I'm going to fix the rust in the back, do the fuel tank mods, put an RX8 transmission in it. T2, we'll put Hawk pads on it. We'll get a set of Falcon RT660s for this thing, just like the RX8. Cooling system should be fine. I've never had issues with my 1980 full bridge car overheating, like during a drift event or this, that, and the other. So we'll run the stock clutch fan with the stock radiator and the stock front mount oil cooler. And then do a half, like a roll of... Then I'll weld in a harness bar into that cage. We'll put my bucket seat in it. We'll get probably the passenger T2 seat. We'll just throw back in there. It's in really good shape. And then... no carpet, maybe some floor mats, and we're going to rage this thing on the track. And we're going to go faster than the RX8 for probably a lot more money. But that's the goal for the car, guys. Get amped. We're building another first gen. I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it rad. Comment below anything you want to see, learn how, whatever on this car. I'll make sure to film it. And get amped for a bin rot video, because you guys have been wanting a bin rot first gen RX7 rust repair video for a while, and that's what we're going to fix on this car. So, peace guys, we'll see you in the next one. Keep it rad. Go check out the other videos on the channel if you want to learn more about these. We've built a bunch of them. Gotta go find the dog. The moldy, musty mess pile. Oh hey, you're right here. Your mohawk's put away. You must have scared off whatever you found. What do you think of that pile, huh? Hey, laddie. Is this car going to go faster than the RX8? Hey, come here, jump. Is this going to go faster than the RX8? Yeah. Not a very exciting jump, though, so it might be a close tie. Laddie knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. Peace, guys.